Hi, this is Elliot Fishman, and welcome to our last CTisus Facebook Live before Thanksgiving. And as you can see in the background, we have one more turkey than usual in the lab. So we wish, just to get started, we wish everybody happy and healthy Thanksgiving. And you can see if I move a little bit, see you at RSNA 2009. And again, we always ask the question, who in their right mind thought of ruining everybody's Thanksgiving weekend by having RSNA? But I guess the good news about remembering that RSNA is always the same time is you never forget when RSNA is. So that's the good news and that's the bad news. So anyway, I thought this year, usually I come back from RSNA, I'll probably still do the same thing, and I'll talk about the things that I saw at RSNA that I thought were interesting. But I thought this year, perhaps what we could do is ask what would I like to see at RSNA this year? And I mean that from both the scientific exhibits, but more from the technical exhibits, because I think most of the time when you talk about discovery at RSNA, you see some really good papers and stuff like that, but it's really the companies of the world that really make the biggest difference. So I did put up a note, and we can still do it, which I asked people to, and Lily put up the note actually, if people had some ideas about what they'd like to see. So someone here, I won't mention names of people, fair judgment review for abstracts. I got rejected. Well, the truth is the RSNA is pretty fair because all the abstracts are reviewed you don't have the author's names or anything. It's a challenge, when you're looking at an abstract and you're looking at 200 abstracts trying to make a decision, it's very, very hard. But I know the frustration well as we got many things rejected as well. I'd like to see live stream to third world countries, though RSNA itself is, I think, streaming live a lot of the meeting, and I think whether you're third world or any world countries, you can watch it at RSNA. And I think for third world countries, it may be for free actually, so that's something you'll see. Surely it'll be plenty to talk about pancreas. We have some exhibits at RSNA. Many people have exhibits. There's a lot of lectures, so that's another thing. Sectional anatomy and CT scanning. Well, we are doing that. I think actually you're going to see at RSNA, our team led by Hannah, right, has this incredible exhibit using cinematic rendering as a way of teaching anatomy. And there'll be chest anatomy and cardiac anatomy. And that'll be an app in early 2020, but short term you can go look at the RSNA site. If you're at RSNA, it's really a good app. It really is really good, I think. And then, and someone said they'd like to see me. Well, I'm happy to see anybody. I'll be there. I'll have my hair combed. I'll wear a suit sometimes, maybe once or twice a tie. I see Whitney is here, and Max says hi. So Max is in pre whatever. I'm not sure it's pre-K, but it is pre-K because he's not in K. But I think in his class they also watch all of our podcasts and Facebook Live. So it's a bunch of 3- and 4-year-olds who really know a lot about what's going on in medicine. And now I see other people having conversations like John Biacchino from our top CT tech speaking to my daughter. But anyway, that's not so bad. So what am I going to see at RSNA? So I think the one thing you're going to see is 2 letters, AI. That's not AI. That's an I. That's an A. I feel like I'm Taylor Swift now. Maybe it's AI this way. Okay, I think it's this way, AI. So I think everything's going to be AI. And the danger, of course, is that everything will be AI. Even if it isn't, people are going to be saying how they use AI. Because I noticed last year, and probably most of you noticed as well, that most companies were of the opinion that if they didn't use AI, they were second rate. And so there was a lot of basically nothing with nothing. In fact, I mentioned this on my last podcast at the end of last RSNA, that I was more impressed by AI at RSNA 2017 than 2018. Because 2017, it was like discovery and reaching ahead. And 2018 was a lot of people saying we got AI, but then you went to booths and it was like going to a high school science fair. Not a very good high school. You go to Stuyvesant and Bronx Science, you see incredible discovery, or you go to some place in California, but this was like a bad high school, and that's what it seemed to be like. So I think that's I think so that's very important. I think what you're going to see a lot of, you're going to see some of the AI companies NVIDIA is going to introduce a lot of new things and really show what they can do in terms of building on top of AI. I think you're going to see a lot of stuff from Siemens and from GE, both on what they're introducing. Both have had products approved in the last month or so from the FDA, and they're going to show you their vision of where AI is going. And I think they're going to show AI everywhere from the scanner itself to the sign-in to reporting to reading. And I think we all know that AI to be successful, or AI to meet what it really can do, is going to really affect every part of radiology, whether it means scheduling, whether it means selecting the protocols for patients, whether it means interpreting the studies, whether it means following the patients up. So that's all going to be true. I think you're going to see a lot of small companies, relatively small companies showing stuff. And just today, for example, Zebra Technology just got a new approval for pleural effusions. So you're going to see companies like Zebra and AI Doc, just to mention two, basically pushing what they've been doing and how they're integrating. You're going to see companies like Nuance, I believe, show how they're trying to integrate, since they're the reporting system, but they have control over the information. You can imagine that Nuance can be a focus for companies to sit between the PACS and the dictation system to really help you out. So I think Nuance, which last year made some announcements with NVIDIA, I remember, though I haven't seen much since last RSNA, and you always wonder about announcements at RSNA or any big meeting. They just sound good. It's like IBM always making announcements, and IBM will make some announcements here as well. But the question is, what are you really doing? I think really is going to be the question. So what I would like to see with AI is some really specific apps or some direction and how people think they can integrate the process together. You could be thinking about companies that can integrate multiple different apps from different people. I mean, we're working on pancreas. We're doing really well, but we're not going to open a company to sell a pancreas app. That'll be crazy. But how can we take what we're doing and put it on a platform that people can use it? I think that makes a lot of sense. So you need kind of the Amazon. Amazon now, I guess with Alexa, makes some products and stuff like that. But Amazon typically is a place of commerce for everybody else. So Amazon doesn't make 99.9% of the products they sell, they don't make. Someone else makes them, but they're the intermediary. And I think that's what you're going to see a lot of. I think you need a company, an Amazon of radiology, an Amazon of medicine, to really be sitting in the middle. If I had to form a company, I would form that company, because sitting in the middle may be the best way to make a profit. You're not really dependent on whose algorithm you use. You're letting everybody develop, and you're just taxing them. So it's kind of like building a road and taxing, very much like the Apple store. Apple gets 30% of everything that's sold on the store. They don't develop anything. They create rules. They control the commerce. They collect the money. They do the advertising. They do the posting. They do the hosting. All that's true, but they get 30%. And that means you can get 30% of a lot of things you don't know anything about, or things that you want to do. So Apple never guarantees how good a product is. It guarantees it follows its rules, but 30% is a pretty good return on investment, as Larry David would say. So that becomes very important. I think other things we're going to see at RSNA, you're going to see some of the follow-up to what we've seen before, where the scanners are becoming less dependent on the user. So we at Hopkins have wonderful technologists, but I know many places you don't have great technologists. It's hard to get techs. It's hard to train techs. You have techs doing CT, ultrasound, fluoro, plain films, MR. So they're not really that good. So the computer needs to know how to do the study, selecting the best parameters to minimize the dose, maximize the information, be able to do all that, whether it means centering the patient. Siemens had the camera last year. GE has a similar thing. So I think I'm going to see that a lot. I'm going to see this way of computers, in great part using AI, making the process of scanning, whether it's CT or MR, plain film, whatever, more standardized, where the techs need to do less work. I think a lot more reliability on the systems, a lot of work going together with decreasing radiation dose, decreasing cost, and increasing quality. I think, hopefully I said increasing, not decreasing quality. I think also you're going to see a lot of RSNA about hiring and work-life balance. I think there's so much being written about that. Articles basically show, every article is the same thing. Half the radiologists are burnt out and the other half are about to burn out. And whether you're looking at department chairman or junior faculty or in private practice, every single group is half burned out, and that is not a pretty picture. It's not unique to radiology. It seems to be all across medicine for whatever reason, and we won't go into that as to why, but I think you're going to be seeing some people maybe coming up with some solutions or some workflow models or things that might alleviate some of the problem. Now, I can't be positive of that, but I think that's definitely going to be the case. Let me just say hello to Melissa from Brazil, Atir from Romania, and Union from Indonesia. That kind of covers the world, right? If you think about it, we kind of almost go 360 if the world was 360. You know, the world is kind of flat, you know, that was the Columbus thing, right? Flat, and then people hanging off the edges. But I still never understood how that round thing ever came about. But that's kind of the main things I think, you know, I hope to see. I do hope to see one thing. You're probably going to see less book dealers than ever. Things are going to be online. I think you're going to see a big push for education, CME online. I think no one goes to meetings anymore. Even the RSNA has recognized that we need to change. The RSNA in 2021, so that's 2 meetings for now, will not have a Friday and will not have a Thursday for vendors. Vendors will have Friday, will have Sunday through Wednesday, which is probably enough for that. I think everyone is cutting costs and cutting people. People have a harder time being away from work. It's getting much trickier for people. So I think that becomes really a challenge in trying to figure out how to do all that. So that's really important. So let's see who else is online here. I see Liliana. Liliana's in Palo Alto. So Liliana, how are you? And if you have any questions, Liliana, let me know. So Liliana is living the good life in Palo Alto. Not going to worry about the winter, and it's not Dubai weather, and it's not Baltimore. It's classic Palo Alto, which is this time of year probably in the low 60s, a lot of sun, and everything good. Let's see, what else am I going to see at RSNA? I think you're going to see a lot of people complaining. I think that's what you're going to see also. So I have my Fishman numbers. I remember Peter Mueller once spoke about these numbering systems. But some RSNAs, everybody complains about everything. Some RSNA, nobody complains about everything. I think this is going to be a year of complaining, because every meeting I go to, and people's complaining is not really unjustified. Everybody is tightly staffed. Everybody seems to be working more. Reimbursements are not up, but they're not down. But people do feel the pressure of working more. People do feel the pressure of expected to do more. I think that's very challenging. It's challenging in private practice, and it's surely challenging in academics. We've said this before, that academics has the problem of a tripartite mission of academics and teaching and research and clinical. But if you don't do the clinical work, if you don't do enough clinical work, you don't have revenue. If you don't have revenue, you can't support the research endeavor, you can't support the educational endeavor, you can't support anything. So it's this balance of how do you do more work and yet have time to be thinking about things academic? How do you get grants if you don't have the time to think about things? And unless you're doing something unique, it's a big world. It's a very competitive world. How do we really do great things? You're not competing with the researchers from a different state. These days, you're competing with the people in China and South Korea and Israel and Canada and Australia and every country in between, from Britain to France and Germany and the like. So there really is a worldwide challenge of information. It's very exciting. You look at any article in radiology, the authors are from many different countries. And the number of authors from pure US sites, the classic Hopkins, Dukes, and Stanfords, and UCSFs, and NYUs, is becoming less and less. And you're seeing a lot of people from foreign countries. And again, that's a very positive thing, because those countries are doing great jobs. But you can see the challenge in the US is the more you work clinically, the less chance you have to do research, The more tired you are, the less you do research. The more distressed you are, the less you do research. The more burnt out you are, the less research you're going to do. So I think all of us, and I'm not sure it's going to be addressed at RSNA, have to really look at ways of how we balance everything we're doing. I think it's very exciting. I think we've said this many times, so I hate to seem repetitive, but we believe there's never been a better time for radiology. There's never been a better time. I'm talking to you live for free. It's not costing you, it's not costing me, but my time. But we're talking live with a turkey in the background. And you see me, and I can comb my hair, and you can watch me comb my hair. It's like, oh my God, we're there. And it's free because you're running Facebook Live. And there are other programs that can do the same thing. But our point is that information travels so quickly. We're not worrying for my word to be in a newspaper or a magazine 6 months from now. We are on top of things. And so people expect changes, which are often hard because change is often very painful. I see Melissa mentions the same thing happening in Brazil. Yeah, and I think this whole workflow thing and the problems are not unique to the US or to Canada. See, in Canada, they're backed up, they haven't read films. You see in England, they're backed up 6 to 8 months. They have Google reading the films for them. The whole world is the same. CT, all of radiology is becoming more important. Radiology is medicine. The rest are all ancillary. It used to be that radiology was thought to be an ancillary service. I'm here to tell you that medicine, surgery, all those other people are ancillary services. Radiology is the only true service. Now, I'm saying this to you because you're a bunch of radiologists. You want to hear something like that. If there are a bunch of surgeons sitting here, I wouldn't be so, it would be more like Larry David. I'm not sure if I'm doing Larry David or I'm doing Bernie Sanders, because on SNL, Larry David and Bernie Sanders kind of look alike. So it's really a little bit tricky. Am I someone running for president or somebody who's just some crazed Californian? And by the way, Larry David, his next season is starting in January. So we're already aligning our schedules because we need to be there. 10 episodes. I'm not sure if you can watch them all the first day, like whatever the thing is that people, what's the thing where people watch all the episodes, Lily, at one time?
Binge watching.
Binge watching. We don't even do binge drinking. Why would we do binge watching? We don't binge on anything. So, but if Larry David, and you also can't take too much Larry David. Someone once gave me as a gift, like season 3 or season 2 or season 1, I had like a whole mess of discs, like a whole mess of episodes. But like after like 3 episodes, I don't want to watch it anymore. And I think Whitney likes Larry David also, though she's not commenting right now. And then Carl Tussing from Hello, hope everything went well at the doctors here in Baltimore, but Carl mentioned that last time he was here. 60 degrees, 60 in Baltimore also. We had 63 yesterday. It's a crazy temperature. I think it'll be colder. And maybe next week we're going to get snow, maybe we'll get rain, maybe we'll get wind, maybe we'll get whatever. I think the coldness and the wet, it's going to be great for California. I saw this morning that it's another forest fire in Santa Barbara, which had total disasters a couple of years ago. So the forest fire stuff in California is not gone. Fortunately, the winds are dying down and they're getting some moisture. So hopefully that will help solve things. So we wish all our friends on the West Coast, wherever they are, wherever there's still fire issues, particularly Santa Barbara, as I read this morning, we wish them safety and that the weather works in their favor, which I think it's going to do. So with that, if no one has any questions, I guess my time is probably up. I want to wish everybody again, and Lydiana, same thing to you. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holiday season. This is the latest Thanksgiving can come out. So the distance between, we always come back from RSNA and say, oh my God, it's December. Now we come back from RSNA this year and say, oh my God, it's the middle of December. The number of days between Thanksgiving and Christmas is the least. So all the merchants are really worried. I think for us in radiology, it is very short. It's not even time for a party or anything. So I think that part's pretty cool. So when we speak to you next time, when I'm back here next Thursday or Friday, I forget which one I'm doing, right after RSNA, I'll tell you a little bit what happened at RSNA. I'll tell you what I saw, who I saw. We're going to run into a bunch of people. Some people I want to see, some people I don't want to see, some people I like, some people I don't like. The good thing about RSNA is they have big badges, and not the badge size, but the name size. It's like gigantic font, like 50 font. You can see someone's name from like 20 miles away, which works out very, very well, because if you can't remember people's names, Now, the only problem you have every once in a while is someone borrows someone else's badge, then you call them by the wrong name. So I looked at this one guy, his name was Seymour. I didn't remember him being Seymour. He didn't even look like a Seymour, but I figured, okay, it says Seymour. And then I realized, Seymour was like someone who gave him a badge because he was too cheap to pay. But nevertheless, we'll be there. And as Carl Tussing says, we are at RSNA. You can come see us 12:30 to 2 to 3:30 on Sunday. We're doing a refresher course. Steve Rowe, Linda Chu, myself will be outstanding. Standing room only. Standing ovations throughout, I'm sure. And then I'm doing on Monday morning with a whole bunch of other people the CTA versus MRA refresher course, which we're doing for the second year. And then on Thursday morning, 11:30, as part of the vascular, I'll be talking about 3D imaging. So we have incredible posters. We have the anatomy. We have something on AI. We have our AI website. We got stuff, unbelievable stuff. But to see that stuff, you're going to have to be there. So hopefully we'll see you in Chicago. And if not, we'll see you next week when we get back from Chicago. In the meantime, have a great week. Have a great holiday. And take it easy. Catch you then. Bye.